Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to episode 32. We're picking up right where we left off last time, with a full-fledged assault on this orc stronghold. Now, we don't know exactly what's in there, other than that it's orcs, so I've gone ahead and swapped in some of our strongest mercenaries just to be on the safe side. But, without further ado, let's get into the ruined dwelling and see what we're up against. Okay, there are 13 orcs, and so far I'm only seeing orc young, so this may actually end up being a relatively easy battle. Though we do have a lot of dense cover here, that'll make it tricky for our archers. Though Bunny still managed to land a pretty solid blow. Potato and Mark will likely have a bit of a harder time. Yeah, we're not going to be able to rely heavily on the archers, at least not until the orcs are so close that we can fire straight through our ranks. But I'm not too worried. This looks to be the majority of the opponents. We've got 12 of them on the field now, and it's all orc young. So let's set up a spear wall. We'll wait for them to get closer. There's the last one. It is all orc young. These guys could still pose a bit of a threat, especially the one or two who are wielding actual orc weapons. But otherwise, for the most part, this should be a fairly standard run-of-the-mill fight. We've got one engaged. Roderick's been stunned. Our archers are up again, but this time they have some relatively exposed targets. Fox sinks 2 arrows into the lead orc. Potato has a few possible shots here, but his best bet's going to be firing right through our ranks. There we go, 2 solid torso wounds. Looks like Casimir just got stunned as well. Mark will go for the wounded orc first, and he drops him. And then he fires on the other target and doles out 2 solid wounds. Very nice. Vlad can't do anything at the moment. The rest of the orcs seem to be a bit more cautious in their approach. Well, except for that one, of course. Looks like Roderick just got stunned again. And now Rondis gets a chance to wet his blades. He drops 1 orc and holds position. And then Janos finishes clearing our line. Rondis is stunned again, but really, these guys are just delaying the inevitable. Our archers are up, so Bunny efficiently drops one of the orcs on our line. Ooh, looks like Reinhard just got stunned and his armor took a ding there. Mark doles out a couple of quick hits on the broken orc. Vlad starts working towards clearing our north line, where I'm just now seeing that everyone has been stunned. Potato fires through the ranks, plants an arrow in one of the orcs' faces. Casimir will start moving up to support. He puts his spear through the orc's armor, but doesn't inflict any significant injuries. Think we'll need to get a little more aggressive on our south side. Rondis moves up and doles out a leg wound on the broken orc. and Chiron will join Rondus. Actually, he's better put to use locking down that orc in the back. And he manages to keep the broken orc locked down as well. We'll move up Henry in preparation for next turn. And I think we're pretty much done for the round, so let's go ahead and move into round 4. Looks like Chiron just got stunned. Roderick can finally draw his war brand. And he slices through the orc's artery. And then breaks his morale. Very nice. Now Henry can contribute. And he quickly drops that broken orc. Our archers start firing into the massed orc formation. Fox manages to drop one of them. Bunny puts an arrow in another. Casimir and Potato team up to clear another orc off the front line. Reinhardt's starting to take a beating on the north side. He's lost about a third of his health. Janos will move up, and I think it's time to draw his great hammer. And it looks like he snapped that orc's femur. Rondus will start circling around behind, but he's unable to sneak in a hit. And Reinhardt, I should probably put him on the defensive and save his stamina. Henry will again maneuver in preparation for next turn. So will Vlad. Oh, never mind, he can't. I guess we're good. Moving into round 5. Rondus gets himself stunned again. Vlad doles out a nasty armor hit. And our archers are definitely running out of open targets. Though Bunny still managed to sneak in a solid hit there. Casimir's up again. But he can't get past his foe's shield. And he takes a nasty mace hit in return. Roderick steps up, lashes his warbrand against the orc's armor. And Henry... Yeah, we're definitely struggling to get attacks past these shields. Alright, Fox. No luck there either. Let's just go ahead and start moving our archers up. Potato manages to land a hit on one of the orcs that's harassing Reinhardt. Mark moves up to join him and plants an arrow in his foe as well. Janos doles out a fractured skull. And Chiron lands 2 solid hits, but that orc's morale is still just barely holding on. There we go. One of the orcs finally tries to flee, and Janos handily beats him to the ground. And we're moving into round 6. Vlad doles out a vicious chest wound with his pike. I think Bunny and Fox will keep taking pot shots for now. Still can't get past those shields, though. Let's see if Fox does any better. There we go. He puts an arrow through that orc's kidney. Ooh. And Roderick not only hits his foe, but he decapitates him with the follow-through. Very nice. It was such a terrifying sight that He breaks the next orc's morale simply by moving next to him. Not that it stops him from plunging his blade through the orc's elbow. Rondus doles out a quick flurry of dagger strikes. Potato switches off to his second quiver and fells another orc. Only 3 left on the field now, one of whom is broken. The fight's pretty much over, but Reinhardt is still in a bit of a rough spot. So we'll keep him on the defensive. Ooh. That orc was trying to tank shield. Didn't do much against Janos' Great Hammer, though. Chiron doles out a couple more crippling blows. And Rondus deftly dispatches the orc as he tries to run. That just leaves us with a single foe on the battlefield, and considering he's lost 90% of his health, I think it's safe to say he's not going to escape. And there we go. Rondus doles out the killing blow. Looks like Janos is up to level 11. And he's also tied with Rondus for MVP. What's this? Looks like we just pulled another named item. Barabbas Brimstone's Protector, a unique kite shield. Well, I'll certainly be taking that. I'll handle a little more inventory juggling off screen, and then we'll finally get back to town. And welcome back. We finally made our way back to Groninfest, where we collected our pay and sold off our excess loot. And I see that there's another contract here, so let's keep the ball rolling and see what work they have to offer. A man surprises you by sliding into your shoulder. You just about draw your sword when he quickly explains that a man by the name of Count Halston von Rabenholt has sought your acquaintance. Sheathing your weapon, you tell the stranger to take you to him. If he's got business, he should tell you himself. The messenger nods and leads the way to a nobleman's house. Staring out his window, Count Halston von Rabenholt asks a simple question. Do you know what a greenskin does when it gets its hands on an infant? You turn your head. A guard in the corner shrugs. You address the question. Yes. The nobleman nods to himself and returns to his desk, taking a belabored seat there. There is a horde of them terrorizing Weedmark. I need you to find them and slay them all. I can't... They can't... Well, just kill them all right? The pay is pretty meager, but we will of course take the contract. Even though it won't net us a whole lot of gold, it will still pull us some more reputation, and continue helping us work towards resolving the orc invasion. Weedmark is right over here, but we're probably going to take a bit of a circuitous route, just in case we run into another stronghold we can raid. And welcome back again. As I suspected, we did indeed manage to uncover a stronghold by wandering off the beaten path from Groninfest. This is the Plunderers' Den and contains a small number of orc berserkers, so it should be a pushover. Let's see here. Just 5 orc berserkers. This should definitely be a quick and easy fight, especially if they're all unarmored like these 3 are. Wajtek gets first blood, doling out 2 vicious hits, and Potato breaks the morale of that bloodied orc. Ooh, that's the definite threat there. That orc with the man splitter on the bottom. Let's get our spears at the ready. And we'll hold position. Now, I am a bit nervous about this elevated terrain right in front of the north half of our line. It may have been a good idea to back up or advance a little bit to prevent them from occupying those spaces. Very nice. Alessandro puts an arrow through one of the berserkers' necks. Wojtek manages to land another hit on the broken berserker. Very nice. Oswald manages to turn away the orc with the man-splitter. And Mark takes advantage of the distraction by putting 2 arrows into him as well. Let's go ahead and start occupying this elevated terrain. Oswald moves in and doles out a nasty strike with his spear. Reinhard moves around to the north and harasses the orc with the neck wound. And Janos, of course, occupies the last open spot, cracking one of the berserker's arms. Let's go ahead and start circling the rest of our line to the south. We don't want to put them in base-to-base contact with the man-splitter, but we want to be close enough that he'll move to engage them. That way he'll waste his action points moving instead of attacking. Woe pushes the bleeding orc to the brink of death, inflicting even more bleeding damage in the process. Roderick will start moving around to the north, and Rondis will move with the south group. Now the lightly armored berserkers get to go. One of them takes off most of Roderick's armor with a single swing. Our archers will keep focus firing on that orc with the man-splitter. And Wojtek puts an arrow through his hand. Woe manages to fell the orc that just... Ooh. Well, it looks like the orc with the berserker chain did bleed to death, but not before he doled out a shattered hand. Reinhard's definitely going to be stuck in recovery for a few days. Roderick moves in and draws his warblade. Oh, I see. His area attacks actually take 6 action points. Well, even with a single target attack, he still gets good results. The man-splitter orcs down, leaving us with just 2 foes, one of whom is wounded, the other of whom is broken. And now they're both broken. With the exception of Reinhard's broken hand, this was about as easy a fight as I expected. Just goes to show you that you should never underestimate anyone wielding a great weapon. Okay, that was a quick little fight, so no level ups. No distinct MVP either. And I'd say that's probably about 500 gold worth of loot, so... that's 100 gold per berserker. Alright, let's keep moving towards Weedmark. And we're back. Once again, it looks like those rampaging greenskins apparently anticipated our approach, because they've already moved to intercept us before we could even get to Weedmark. It looks like another fairly straightforward battle, a plethora of young orcs. Assuming there are no nasty surprises in there, this should be another fairly straightforward fight. 15 orc young. Okay, let's go ahead and start picking these guys off with arrows. Fox has already doled out a pierced hand and a... Oop, scratch that. Bunny killed him. And we'll hold with the rest of our archers till we have another good target. These orc young are definitely very enthusiastic. That's a lot of growling and shouting on their part. I guess I can't blame them. They do have the slight edge when it comes to numbers. Okay, everyone hold position. You'll notice that we've swapped out our spears this time. I wanted to try out those new kopeshes we picked up, and this seemed like an ideal opportunity. Alessandro knocks the lead orc to the brink of death. Wajtek quickly finishes him off. The rest of our men hold position and await the horde. Looks like Oswald just got stunned. Dominic's been stunned. And our archers are up. They can fire straight through the ranks. And we will, of course, focus on the orcs with no shields. Alessandro manages to break one orc's morale. Vlad readies his pike and puts it through an orc's arm. Bunny continues firing through the ranks. Shears off an orc's helmet, puts an arrow through him. And the orcs on the south side finally engage. Igot deftly fells one foe with his dagger, then quickly draws his axe and fells another foe as well. Very nice. And unfortunately, they're keeping Oswald stun-locked. Now, I don't play with cleavers much. They're great against lightly armored foes and dole out bleeding injuries with every strike. They also have a special move that can increase the chance of inflicting a decapitation, but that's far from reliable. Rondis could lay into this orc with his dagger, but let's pull out the big guns. And he neatly cuts the orc young down with his greatsword. Janos follows suit, crushing a foe and advancing into the thick of things. Henry moves up and shears an orc's face off with his banner. And I think it's time to move into round 3. Looks like Rondis just got stunned. Janos took a light hit. Dominic's been stunned. And our archers are back up. Wajtek doles out a nasty shoulder wound. Fox puts an arrow through an orc's hand, then kills that orc, and the orc behind him. Looks like Igot just got stunned. Bunny manages to break another orc's morale. And Vlad breaks yet another orc's morale. There's only 7 orcs left on the field, and at this point 3 of them are shattered. Chiron doles out a bleeding wound on one of the remaining combat-ready orcs. Janos, of course, goes for an arcing swing, shattering bones and sending foes flying. One of the shattered orcs tries to flee, only to immediately be cut down by Rondis. And another one does succeed in sprinting into the distance. Though he's still within arrow range, so let's see if our archers can slow him down. Oswald finally moves in, Kopesh at the ready. But, like I said, cleavers don't perform well against armor. Dominic lays into the same target, inflicting multiple bleeding wounds. Alessandro unleashes a flurry of arrows, dropping the fleeing orc. Nice. Igot lops an orc's head off with his great axe, then leaps forward with his dagger drawn. Vlad moves up, puts another orc onto the brink of death, and that orc is immediately shot down by Fox. Just 3 foes remaining, 1 broken and 2 wavering. Now it's 2 broken and 1 wavering. And Chiron slices open the last orc's leg, officially shattering his morale as well. Now it's just a matter of cleaning up the battlefield. Looks like Janos has finally run out of stamina. But that's fine. Somehow I doubt these orcs are going to get very far. Alright, archers. Sneak in your last shots. Wojtek takes an orc's ear off. Bunny drops 2 of the remaining foes with well-placed shots, leaving us with just the 1 lone orc. We'll start moving our frontliners down there, but the kill is most likely going to go to Rondus or Chiron. Rondus casts aside his dagger, draws his greatsword, and decapitates the final foe. No level ups, disappointing. Looks like we've got a 3-4-way tie for MVP. And we've got a bunch of relatively trivial orc garbage, but we'll take it all. Count Halston von Rabenholt's men could never do what you just did. Only the Retcon Raiders could deal with these greenskins. You're proud of the company, but try not to show it. Back to Groninfest. We're getting pretty close to the 30-minute mark at this point, so let's get back to town, turn in this contract, and we'll call it an episode. Seizing destiny by the beard, you declared your intention to travel across the land and make your mark as an explorer. Reasoning that uncovering new locations, be they dens of evil or prosperous villages, would lead to new opportunities for wealth, the men enthusiastically followed. In the succeeding days, the company has looked upon many a broad vista, surveying high towers and treacherous canyons. You have dodged enemy scouts and made fireless camps beneath stars like 1,000 candle flames in the void, charting the course of untamed rivers and skirting the hostile edges of uncrossable mountain ranges. The Retcon Raiders can honestly claim themselves more widely traveled than many other bands of their kind. And that's another ambition fulfilled. Looks like we don't get any special rewards this time, but we do pull a chunk of renown and a whole lot of morale. And we're right around the corner from Groninfest, so let's go ahead and collect our pay. Count Halston von Rabenholt's having a coughing fit when you return. He glances at you, fisted hand borrowed to his lips. Surely your presence is not another bad omen. You shrug and place a greenskin's head on his table, explaining that all of them were taken care of. Count Halston von Rabenholt glances at it. So my illness must have been caused by something else. But what? Black cats, yes, of course. I will have them all killed. The man pauses, then shakes his head. Ah, no matter. Your pay is being held by a guard outside. It is the amount we agreed to, though feel free to count it. The gods know I may have miscounted in my current state. And with that, it looks like our time in Groninfest has come to an end. They don't seem to have any more contracts to offer, so that means it's time to hit the road and start looking for towns that actually need some mercenaries. Before we leave, though, I think it's only fair to spend part of our gold on a round of drinks for the men. And now it's back to work. We haven't seen a lot of orcs down here in the southern reaches, so I'm guessing that we'll see a heavier orc presence as we start heading north. So get some rest while you can, Raiders. We've got a long march ahead of us. Hey, RetconRaider here. Not a lot to say this time around. The war against the Greenskins has begun, but so far things have been pretty tame. We've taken on plenty of Berserkers and Orc Young in the past, so today's battles were pretty run-of-the-mill. And aside from Reinhardt's broken hand, the Raiders came through it all relatively unscathed. Of course, I'm sure that will all change once we've started heading north. As we get closer to the battle lines, we're likely to start seeing mixed groups of goblins and orcs, as well as a lot of heavier units such as orc warriors, goblin shamans, and maybe even a few chiefs and overlords. I've even heard that the orcs can field siege weapons, though I've never actually fought one before. So I suppose we should enjoy the easy fights where we can find them, because things are probably only going to get tougher from here. But hey, the harder the work, the more it pays, and that's the sort of thing that most of the men signed up for. So let's get to work, Raiders. This war isn't going to end itself. This is RetconRaider, signing off. Thanks for watching. Oh, and remember, although I do love playing Battle Brothers, you can find out more about the game by visiting the official website, or the FanRun Wiki. Links are in the description.